Last time we counted down 1080s TV shows that Gen X completely forgot existed. And the comments went absolutely wild. So many of you were lighting up saying, I remember that, and how did you forget this one? So we heard you. Welcome to part 2. 10 more 80s shows that were absolutely massive at the time and somehow vanished from pop culture memory. If you thought part 1 was deep cuts, buckle up. Let's get into it. The Fall Guy, 1981 to 1986. Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man himself, returned to television in 1981 as Colt Seavers, a Hollywood stuntman who moonlighted as a bounty hunter whenever the movie work dried up. It was the perfect mix of action, comedy, and over-the-top stunt sequences, with car chases, explosions, and impossible jumps packed into almost every episode. The series ran for 5 successful seasons and 112 episodes. Its theme song, The Unknown Stuntman, wasn't just memorable, it actually became a hit record. And the show's iconic pickup truck inspired one of the hottest toy vehicles of the decade. At the time, The Fall Guy was a Friday night favorite for millions of viewers. But when the A-Team arrived just 2 years later, it quickly became the bigger pop culture phenomenon, and The Fall Guy slowly faded into the background despite its huge success. Still, if you instantly remember that rugged pickup truck, Colt Seavers' wisecracks, or found yourself humming the theme song the moment you heard the title, there's a good chance you were glued to ABC every Friday night. Hardcastle and McCormick, 1983 to 1986. A retired judge and a reformed car thief teaming up to catch criminals who slip through the legal system. That's about as perfectly 80s as a TV premise could get. Hardcastle and McCormick combined courtroom justice, high-speed action, and plenty of buddy cop banter into a formula that kept viewers coming back week after week. The series ran for 3 solid seasons on ABC and built a loyal fan base thanks to the chemistry between Brian Keith's no-nonsense Judge Hardcastle and Daniel Hugh Kelly's charming ex-con Mark McCormick. Add in the sleek sports car, fast-paced chases, and clever crime stories, and it had all the ingredients of a classic 80s action series. The problem wasn't that the show lacked quality, it was that it aired during one of the most competitive eras in television. With giants like the A-Team, Magnum, P.I., and Knight Rider dominating the action genre, even a genuinely entertaining series struggled to stand out. If you remember the bright red Coyote sports car, Judge Hardcastle's tough love attitude, or the unlikely partnership at the heart of the show, you probably watched one of the 80s most underrated crime dramas. Riptide, 1984 to 1986. 3 private detectives solving crimes from a boat docked in Los Angeles. That alone was a uniquely 80s idea. The team consisted of 2 ex-military friends and a quirky computer genius who didn't just love technology, he actually built his own robot sidekick named Roboz. Yes, this detective show really had a homemade robot helping crack cases. Riptide mixed action, comedy, gadgets, and lighthearted detective stories into a fun adventure series that stood out from the typical crime dramas of the era. The chemistry between the 3 leads gave the show plenty of personality, and Roboz added just enough sci-fi flavor to make it feel different from everything else on television. NBC had high hopes for the series, and it performed respectably during its first 2 seasons, earning a loyal audience. But the mid-80s were packed with hit action shows, and comparisons to Knight Rider were impossible to avoid. While Kit became one of television's most iconic sidekicks, Roboz never quite reached the same level of pop culture fame. Over time, Riptide quietly slipped into TV history. But if you remember the detective's boat headquarters, the bright yellow helicopter, or robots rolling into another case, you're definitely carrying around a piece of forgotten 80s television history. Sledgehammer, 1986 to 1988. Before the Naked Gun movies became comedy classics, ABC gave us Sledgehammer, a brilliantly over-the-top parody of the tough guy cop shows that dominated the 1980s. Instead of a cool, collected detective, viewers got Inspector Sledgehammer, a trigger-happy, wildly overconfident cop who treated every problem like it required maximum firepower. Hammer was so obsessed with his revolver that he talked to it, slept with it, and trusted it more than most people. At one point, he even managed to nearly trigger a nuclear disaster. His unforgettable catchphrase, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing," usually meant the exact opposite was about to happen. The show perfectly skewered every action cop cliche of the decade, from explosive shootouts to reckless heroes who somehow always thought they were right. It was sharp, clever satire that many people argue arrived at least 5 years before audiences were truly ready for that style of comedy. Critics loved its writing and sense of humor, but the ratings never quite matched the praise. After just 2 seasons, Sledgehammer disappeared from network television, while later spoof franchises went on to become household names. Still, if you remember laughing at Sledge's complete lack of self-awareness or instinctively hear, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." Every time someone makes a terrible decision, you're one of the fans who never forgot this underrated 80s gem. Street Hawk, 1985. Imagine Knight Rider, but instead of a talking supercar, the hero rode a futuristic, weapon-packed motorcycle. That was the entire idea behind Street Hawk. After seeing the enormous success of Knight Rider, ABC essentially asked, what if we did the same thing, but on 2 wheels? The series followed Jesse Mack, a police officer chosen for a secret government project after a career-ending injury. Equipped with the incredible Street Hawk motorcycle, he became a high-speed crime fighter capable of chasing down criminals no ordinary vehicle could catch. The bike itself was the real star. It could reportedly reach an astonishing 300 miles per hour, featured advanced weapon systems, turbo boosts, and futuristic technology that seemed almost unbelievable in 1985. Combined with its sleek black design and the unforgettable synthesizer soundtrack by Tangerine Dream, Street Hawk looked and sounded like pure 80s sci-fi cool. Despite all that style and ambition, the show never found a large enough audience. It lasted just 13 episodes before being canceled, making it one of the shortest-lived action series of the decade. But over the years, it has developed a loyal cult following among fans who still consider the motorcycle one of the coolest TV vehicles ever created. If you instantly recognize that black superbike, can still hum Tangerine Dream's iconic theme, or once dreamed of owning a Street Hawk of your own, there's a pretty good chance you had a poster of that motorcycle hanging on your bedroom wall. The Greatest American Hero. Power on. 1981 to 1983. A bumbling substitute teacher is given a superhero suit by aliens, but immediately loses the instruction manual. So he can fly, but can't land. He's super strong, but can't aim. It was a genuinely funny, heartfelt, and clever spin on the superhero genre. The theme song, believe it or not, was a top 5 Billboard hit in 1981. The show was a genuine ratings winner, and then it just ended after 3 seasons and was barely ever rerun. One of the most criminally underappreciated shows of the decade. Small Wonder, 1985 to 1989. A robotics engineer secretly builds a robot girl named Vicky and passes her off as his daughter. She speaks in a robotic monotone, has superhuman strength, and doesn't understand human emotions. It sounds completely unhinged, described out loud, and it was. but it ran in syndication for 4 seasons, and kids across the country watched it every afternoon after school. Vicky's deadpan delivery was comedy gold. Completely forgotten today, absolutely beloved at the time. Out of this world, 1987 to 1991. A teenage girl named Evie discovers her father is an alien, and she has inherited his powers, including the ability to freeze time by touching her index fingers together. Burt Reynolds voiced the alien dad, who only communicated through a glowing cube. 96 episodes across 4 seasons in syndication. That is not a flop. That is a legitimate hit show. And almost nobody under 40 knows it existed. If you remember Evie freezing time before gym class, you were watching something truly special. Wizards and Warriors, 1983. CBS took a swing at a medieval fantasy comedy adventure series in 1983. Full armor, swords, dragons, an evil wizard, a heroic knight, and genuine production value for the time. It was campy and fun and genuinely well made. 8 episodes. That's all CBS gave it before pulling the plug. 8 episodes of what could have been a genuinely great fantasy franchise. For the small audience that found it in those 8 weeks, it felt like something special being ripped away far too soon. The Phoenix. Our #1 most forgotten 80s show is The Phoenix, and if you remember it, you are in an extremely exclusive club. The premise, an ancient astronaut named Bennu, an alien being of light, awakens in modern-day California after being buried for thousands of years. He has healing powers, can sense evil, and is searching for his companion, Mira, while being chased by a government agent. ABC gave it 5 episodes. 5 before canceling it mid-story with no resolution. It was mysterious, beautifully shot, and felt genuinely unlike anything else on TV at the time. It's the most forgotten show on this entire list, which makes it the most worthy of being remembered. Honorable mentions. Before we go, some quick honorable mentions that almost made the list. Voyagers, time-traveling history show, 1982, NBC. 1 season The Master and Ninja Show starring Lee Van Cleef, 1984. 1 season Bring 'Em Back Alive, Frank Buck Adventure Series, 1982, CBS. 2 seasons Cover Up Spy Thriller, 1984. CBS notable for a tragic reason. We'll cover in a future video. So many shows, so many forgotten gems. So part 2 done. How many did you get this time? Drop your score in the comments. And yes, we already have a part 3 list ready if you want it. Smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss it when it drops. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.